Hi, my name is Seema Chandra and with me is my co-host Sarika Bansal. Sarika is a nutrition expert, a health coach, and she's been in the food industry for the last 15 years. She lives by her wellness mantra, and I can tell you she lays out the most spectacular table ever. Her food philosophy is go step by step, no fat diets, and she believes that the slow and steady always win the race.
Thank you, Seema. That was very generous, but you are no less. She's just not a food lover, but she's a powerhouse in the world of food and nutrition. She helped set up NDTV's food portal 20 years back. She was our favorite food show host who introduced us to a lot of global cuisines. And not to mention, she has a master's in public health. So trust me when I say that you are going to have a ball with all her knowledge and stories.
Thank you, Sarika. Welcome to In Good Taste. So we're talking about nutrition labels on packaged foods. We all know that while the front of the pack says what it does to lure the customer, it's really the back of the pack that has the real story. And what does happen at the back of the pack, Sarika, we all know, it's got the ingredient list and you have a nutrition table. Those are the two things that we need to look out for.
That's so true, Seema. The back of the pack gives us the real story. And the things to look out for is the ingredient list, the nutritional table, and the fine print. That's where you get the catch. That's where they put in things, sneak in things, which they don't want you to see up front.
Absolutely. What you see is not what you get for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think what we're going to do in today's episode is, last time what we did was we spoke a lot about, Sarika, the buzzwords, right? Like all the warning labels that are put on food packets, especially the catchy words that they put when it says natural, organic, traditional, pure. We did all that. And we've told all our viewers about how completely misleading a lot of those claims can be, right? But today what we're going to do is, let's discuss when you flip the packet, which is any packaged food, then how do you read what's at the back?
Yeah. Let's start with the nutritional table.
Okay.
So the first thing which you see on the nutritional table is the serving size.
Yeah.
Now this is the game plan of the brands. They can get a little sneaky in this, and they do this to make themselves look good on paper.
Yeah, it's all about the math.
It's all about the math.
Yeah. And when it comes to the math, I think, again, in Indian food packets are very different from what you get overseas, right? So in India, when you see that nutrition table, everything, whether it is sugar, salt, fat, sodium, whatever, it's all written, those values are per 100 grams. So the first thing you've got to do is ask yourself, are you only consuming 100 grams of that packet? For example, if it's a packet of cereal and it says 4 grams of sugar per 100 grams, which by the way will never be the case, wishful thinking, but if it said 4 grams of sugar, then it's 4 grams of sugar per 100 grams. If you're eating 200 grams, it's 8 grams of sugar.
Yeah.
That math is very important to do, which most people, including me till very recently, did not know.
Yeah. And also, the other way to look at it is, Sherry, that FASSI has come up with this, that when you make a nutritional table, there has to be 3 columns.
Okay.
So first column is 100 grams, the values which are in the 100 grams. Second column is about the serving size which they are telling you. Okay. So if in a chip packet, the serving size is 28 grams.
Okay.
So this will be 28 grams. The values which are in 28 grams. And then the third one is against the RDA, percentage of the daily allowance, which is calculated by a 2000 calorie for an adult. So when you're looking at it, you have to see how much you're going to eat, serving size. So like a chips packet, if the serving size is 28 grams, the calories in it is 90. But you'll never, 28 grams is like 5 chips. Have you ever stopped at 5 chips?
No.
You'll probably land up eating the whole packet, which is around 90 grams. And suddenly the fat has increased, the calories have increased. So that is what you have to make sure. What is the serving size? So the food brands underplay this just to mislead the customers.
And also, the other thing is, do you agree that the focus, we also have calories written, right? But it's not just the calories that is important. You need to see these various items. If you're a diabetic, be careful of the sugar. If you're watching your weight. If you're hypertensive or you've got heart issues, be careful of the sodium content. So different people have to be careful about different things in that nutrition label when you're seeing it.
Totally.
And that's important. And like you said, the RDA, if I hear you, is the percentage RDA is the required dietary allowance per person based on 1800
to 2000
calories a day, right?
For an adult.
For an average adult. For an average adult. So again, you may sort of consume maybe not more calories than you should, but you can consume more of these individual items.
So I'll tell you where this adds up and RDA, why that is important. So let's take an example of a chip. Now in a chip, which is 140 calories per serving, which is 28 grams, like I was telling you before, 4 or 5 chips is 28 grams. And if you eat 90 grams, like that's the whole packet of the chip, you're getting 400 calories. So suddenly, out of your 2000 daily allowance, you've consumed 400 calories of chip. It's not nutritious. You're not full. You're going to eat again. These are just wasted calories.
Kids are going to hate us. They're going to hate us. They're going to say, these two should stop. But it's true. It actually is absolutely, absolutely true.
Yeah.
When it comes to 2000 calories, and what I've also been quite amazed to see is, they also tell you, RDA tells you what is the recommended amount, right?
Yeah.
So in different, again, according to different things that you should be eating, the percentage is 2000 calories per day you should have. RDA is 60 grams of total fat in a day, okay? 60 grams of total fat in a day, out of that 20 grams of saturated fat. Trans fats should ideally be 0. Added sugars should be 50 grams a day, and sodium should be 2000 mg, which is again 5 grams. Now actually it's also confusing because nobody knows what grams they're eating.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've just said is Greek to most people.
Yeah.
How on earth are you going to know, acha, every day I should have 60 grams of fat, but I ate my lunch, how much fat went in my oil, oil in my lunch? It's very difficult to do this math.
Yeah. So what I think is the food which you're eating at home, you have a general idea of what fat you're putting in there.
Good
and,
point.
You know, and you know how much you're putting in there. In the packaged foods, you don't know where the fat is coming from. So that is what adds up.
And also the type of fat.
And the type of fat. Yeah.
But then having said, so that's the thing. We've already done an episode on good fats vis-a-vis bad fats, right? How some fats are good for you. So if it's MUFA and PUFA, good luck.
Yeah.
Please go ahead and eat it. Again, this I have seen almost more than a decade ago, that you can have chips packets which will say made with olive oil. On the front of the pack, you turn around the pack, and in the fine print, as you said earlier, it'll say olive oil, so they're not lying, but it'll also have palm oil snuck in. And we all know palm oil is saturated fat. It's not great for you. It's cheap. It's what most of the packaged food industry uses. So the one thing we can tell everybody, a good takeaway is, look out for the kind of oil. And if it's palm oil, try and stay away from it.
Yeah.
Right? So again, type of fat matters. Even if it says olive oil, doesn't mean it's only olive oil.
Yeah.
So read the fine print. And thirdly, if it's hydrogenated vegetable oil, vanaspati and all of that, then it is pure junk.
Yeah. Saturated fat, the FSSAI has a limit on it. So they say that it should be 10% of your total calories.
Okay.
You know, so in a 2000 calorie diet, it's like around 20 grams.
20 grams.
Trans fat is 0.
Trans fat you're not supposed to have?
FSSAI cannot has said you cannot use trans fat. It has to be less than 2%.
1%, I think.
Oh, less than 1%. Yeah, but
traces.
But where the trans fat comes in, Seema, it's the bakery.
Yeah.
Bakery is the biggest culprit of trans fat because it's not regulated. There's no labels on it properly.
So when you're going to, like, say, a coffee shop, you see, that's where you have most of trans fats.
Yeah.
Well, and we all know trans fats increase your risk of heart disease, obesity. It's like one of the inflammation.
Yeah.
One of the worst things. In the US, of course, as we've discussed before, it's totally banned.
Yeah.
But coming to trans fats, I want to talk about this, is Sarika. Microwave popcorn.
Yeah.
It's been a battle. What you're not going to realize, and this is something that I go through packets and packets of microwave popcorn. I'm not saying they're all the same. But basically, you can have up to 14 grams of saturated fat per serving.
Yeah.
Okay? So one packet of popcorn has 3 servings. That's straight away 43 grams. That's number one. Number two, I want to tell you, not all popcorns are the same. So I don't want to brush everybody with a bad, saying that they are all in the red. There are some brands out there, and I know we don't discuss brands, but it's shocking to see the differences between, say, a popcorn like Act 2, which has much more saturated fat than, say, another popcorn available in the market. So you need to see the brand and see what is the amount of saturated fat. And some of them have trans fats also.
Yeah.
Within the limit, but there are trans fats. So when you're thinking of microwave popcorn, I just keep feeling this: get the popcorn kernels, get butter. I'm not saying have popcorn in olive oil, but it's way better to make it at home.
Yeah, like you know what's in there.
Yeah.
And the most surprising thing about saturated fat is instant noodles. Nobody thinks there's saturated fat in there, but it's all palm oil. One packet has around 8 grams of saturated fat in it.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they say that, Sarika, when you're checking for a food label, a good rule of thumb is that you should look for products, if they are low in fat, which are about 1.5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams. It's very rare. 1.5 is what they say is a good rule of thumb, right? Which is low. And anything above 5 grams per 100 grams is considered high in saturated fats.
So that's what in Good Taste we want to educate people today. So when they're buying a product, this is what they have to look at.
Yeah.
If it says, if it is 1.5 grams per 100 grams, then it is a low saturated fat. And anything over 5, be very wary of eating it. Make an informed decision.
And know what you're
going
in for.
Eating. Yeah.
And I will add that the good news is that we in India are looking for, data shows it, that there is an increased desire for people and a demand to want to have healthier foods. So the demand is there. There are lots and lots of new brands that have come up with healthier alternatives. But again, the fact that they're screaming it out aloud doesn't make it healthy.
Yeah.
It is not.
This is just to educate that when you buy stuff, flip the packet and see what's there.
What is in it?
Yeah. Don't just go with what's in the front.
So we talked about saturated fats. The next thing I want to bring up is sodium.
I know this is your pet peeve.
I know. But it's quite amazed me that, and I'll come to studies.
Yeah.
But Indians have the highest salt intake in the world. Our average consumption of salt per day is 11 grams. WHO says it should be around 5.
Yeah, just imagine.
And I'm not so surprised because I don't know how much it has to do with ghar ka khana or is it our snacks. It's our packaged food. And it's a huge risk because Indians are predisposed to hypertension, cardiovascular disease. Yeah. We all know high salt diet is not the best thing. But in India, we are consuming more salt than we should. So, and this is a huge issue. In fact, the current Indian as well as WHO recommendation is about 5 grams. As I said, it's 1 teaspoon of common salt a day, which is 2 grams of sodium. Take any food product. You talked about instant noodles, chips.
Yeah.
Acha, you talk about the namkeens. The biggest namkeen brands in our country. You tell me which one of them is putting 2 grams of sodium in
it's
100
minimum
grams.
400 to 600 milligrams of sodium in 100 grams.
So this is just...
It is shocking when you actually
So a
look at
little
the
bit
numbers.
of bhujia, little bit of chana and whatever,
Yeah.
you're done
You're done.
with the salt.
Yeah.
And nobody's looking at it.
Nobody's looking at it. Continuing, Sherry, I want to give this data to our listeners. So when they check the labels, they just keep these few things in mind. So like you said, sodium, in one little bit bhujia, it's so much. So they have to look for 120 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. That is the limit. They should not, if anything is over that, then again, be cautious about it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they know.
That's the crucial thing.
Yeah.
Also, I want to mention that sodium or salt, it could say sodium, but there are other slightly dodgy
Very good
ones.
point.
Sodium bicarbonate
Yeah.
is not the same.
Yeah.
MSG, I'm not going to go into the
Yeah, let's
controversy
not.
around it, but MSG is also sodium.
Yeah.
Disodium phosphate. Sounds like a chemistry lab, something I'd find there.
Yeah.
Again, all sodium contributors.
Yeah.
So this is how they will put in. You and I both know how the kids love a dried packet of instant noodles. We all know. And I know, filled with MSG. And that's why the kids love it.
And there's almost 3.5 grams of salt in it.
Do you take it for your treks?
No.
No, you don't?
No.
Good, I'm proud of you.
No.
I'd be horrified if I suddenly
No,
would say,
no,
oh, but I have it on my treks.
No,
You
no,
don't.
no.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great news. But you know what? Forget about, okay, when you're having a chip packet or something, you can imagine that sodium may be more. What really shocked me is salted almonds. Now, I have almonds on my bedside. If you're feeling hungry, in the middle of the night, I'll go and eat almonds. Salted almonds from a brand which is ostensibly premium, expensive, says it's, very good for health. It had 553 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. That's bizarre. So salted almonds, you're thinking you're having almonds, but your sodium can go right on top.
Yeah.
So we are very clear about this. Fat, look out for fat, look out for sodium.
Yeah.
First two things.
Next, of course, is our sugar.
Yeah.
This is the most controversial, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the brands have really found ways around it. Because I think 50% of the products in the market say no added sugar.
Yeah.
Now, because everybody is watching sugar, that's what they say, no added sugar. And it is such a play of words. So the thing is that WHO has said around 5 to 6 teaspoons of sugar is the recommended dosage. So that's around 25 grams.
25 grams.
That's around 25 grams. But sugar is sneaked in and you can't look for sugar only in the sweet products. Mm-hmm. It's there in your sauces. It's there in your dressings. So it's there in things which you don't even think of. So it's not just the dessert you have to look for. That's one thing about sugar. Then sugar, you have to see that they can be other sources of sugar, which does not come under as white sugar. So there's maltose, glucose syrup, fructose, high fructose corn syrup, dextrose, and then even your jaggery, palm sugar, cane sugar. They are all sugar. They are all sugars. But the brands can put no added sugar and add all these in the product.
So again, it's got a nice healthy halo.
Yeah.
But you're actually consuming sugar. And jaggery, honey and date syrup is like my favorite that I see. They're all adding sugar.
Yeah.
It's not sort of, just because you see it's made with jaggery doesn't make it any better. It's less processed.
Yeah.
But it's still sugar.
The body is processing it as sugar.
Right.
So you have to be careful. And again, the thing to look out for, in Good Taste, we are giving you some tips over here, is anything over 10 grams of sugar for 100 grams, be careful.
Be careful. Again, would you say that most places that will be, most areas, when you're buying a dessert, you're not worried, right?
Yeah.
But biscuits, it's come as a real shocker again to me over the last decade or so. How much sugar you can consume having even multigrain biscuits. You think it's multigrain, which I'll come to the next thing, which is protein and fiber. But sugar in biscuits is something to watch out for. Coming to what I was going to talk about, which is protein and fiber. Again, the nutrition label says protein and fiber. A good snack, they say, if it's labeled as high protein if it has about 5 to 7 grams of protein per 100 grams. Then it says it's meant to be high protein, right? But many protein snacks, high protein snacks in the market are high protein but also have a lot of added sugar, like we discussed last time, protein bars. So you have to be careful of that. Also the kind of proteins one needs to look at, right? So that's important. And fiber, I'm constantly looking for high fiber stuff. And I think for a lot of Indians, they want more fiber in their diets. So everyone's looking for how can you get that. So you can get real fiber in snacks if they have, for example, whole grains, they have nuts, they have seeds. That's when you get it. Not with maida, not with refined starches. So you have to sort of sift out and again read at the back. Sarika, we're talking till now only about the nutrition table. We'll also talk about how we marry this with the ingredient list. So protein and fiber is also something that you shouldn't blindly just see. You need to double check and see if it's also in the ingredient list.
Your source. You have to check your source.
Check your source. Absolutely.
Adding to the protein bit, Sherry, the studies, there was a study as recent as in April 2024. They analyzed around 35 to 40 protein powders which are available in India. And out of that, 70% of them were wrongly labeled.
Whoa, that's crazy.
So, the protein source, the protein content was not right. That's a very large number.
So, Sarika, very interestingly, FSSAI's latest guidelines, and I want to read them out to you. I keep going back to the website to see, is there something new? Is there something new? It says, contents on the label shall be clear, unambiguous, prominent, conspicuous, indelible, and readily legible by the consumer under normal conditions of purchase and use. Let me tell you, when I was putting together the script for this series, I purchased a lot of packaged foods that I would not otherwise get. Do you know, I had to get out my magnifying glass. I'm not that old, I can read pretty well. I could not read the labels on so many packaged foods products. So it's ridiculous. How can you? It should be clear. It is not clear. So there is now a lot of backlash, and we'll come to that later. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to get around, wrapping the knuckles and telling all these brands that this is not okay. You've got to write it. But as things stand today, they are not clear. And because we've right now discussed the ingredient label, the second thing, very crucially, we need to discuss today is the ingredient list. When you will flip the packet, you see the label, which is in a
table.
And then before or after,
there's an ingredient list.
An ingredient list. And the most important thing in there is the ingredient list is written in the descending order by weight of the ingredient in the packet. Simplify that for our viewers.
When you're looking at the ingredient list, the product, which is the first product, is what is there in large quantities.
Or maximum.
Maximum quantity.
Right.
That's then in the maximum quantity. And so on, it keeps descending like that. So if you look at the first 3 ingredients, that's what you're eating really. So if it's maida, sugar, palm oil, that's it.
Sometimes they also write percentages. Once in a while, they write.
They do. I think FSSAI had or has this law that they have to put percentages, but I don't see it very often. So I don't think it's implemented.
No, it's not.
But yeah, but on some labels I have seen. And even after that, they might put something like jowar, bajra. Doesn't matter. You're eating maida, palm oil, and sugar.
Yeah.
If it's in that order.
That's such a crucial thing. What we're saying is that when you pick up a packet of anything, whatever, like you said, is written, it is in that order. Which means that, and I know I said this last time also, but doesn't matter, I'll repeat it again. When it comes to bread, please check if it's multigrain and your first ingredient in the ingredient list is maida or refined flour, then you're consuming a bread which has largely refined flour first. Don't think. If it has ragi in the beginning or any other kind of flour, jowar or quinoa, whatever, then that's the maximum amount. And straight off the bat, isn't it better to just consume food products? If you're consuming packaged products, consume products which have a shorter ingredient list and ingredients that you can recognize, not stuff which looks like formulas there, because then I'm not saying you will get everything without any formula. There will be emulsifiers and caking agents and all of that, anti-caking agents, but at least try and pick stuff up which is got fewer of these ingredients in it.
100%. I think there's a limit of 5 or 6. If you see something which is of 5 ingredients or 6 ingredients and you recognize all of them, I think it's a no-brainer. Just pick it up.
There'll be so few.
There'll be very few. That's why I'm saying it's a no-brainer. Just pick it up.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I saw a cereal packet the other day which I did pick up. Literally, it had 4 ingredients. I couldn't believe it. Very rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. I agree.
And if it's got 20 ingredients, at least you should recognize most of them.
Next thing on the ingredient list, Sherry, is the preservatives. So these preservatives were so that this food doesn't spoil. That's the main purpose of this preservatives. And in small quantity, additives, preservative are fine. It's okay to use. But what happens, what do the food industry and the brands, what they do is they combine a lot of them together, which is where it becomes a problem. And it is now posing as health risk to kids, gut problem they're having allergies. And these are all because of these because people think preservative is just a little quantity, but that's not, it's still detrimental. And what is surprising is that this is when I was doing research for this script, that's when I found out, I didn't know this, that if your product says food puree, so you cannot just say food puree and leave it over there in the ingredient list. If that has preservative in it, you have to even tell that. So you have to list that as well. Okay, so which is like a good thing, they're going really deep dive into it.
Good, that you can't just get away.
Yeah, you can't get away. So earlier people would say food puree and leave it. That's it. What is going in there, you didn't have to write down.
Well, interestingly, in the US now, the latest news is that they've banned this red dye.
Yeah.
And everybody is very thrilled. All the food technologists are saying, about time.
Yeah.
That because this will have a huge impact. See, once a policy decision like this comes in, that you do not allow something which is clearly harmful, then it can change the whole nature of how food is formulated.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about preservatives. We talked about hidden sugars. And the other thing that comes to my mind is, of course, emulsifiers.
Yeah.
What do emulsifiers do? They maintain the texture of the food and they prevent separation of ingredients. So if you're mixing, say, water and oil, what is it going to do? Now, what do emulsifiers look like? They have E something, a number, right? INS.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I remember it used to be E, now it is INS something. I didn't know things like even xanthan gum, guar gum, all these lecithin, which you read. All of them are emulsifiers.
Lecithin.
I don't know how to.
Lecithin.
Lecithin, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to pronounce it just as well. It's a complete no-no. But so these chemicals, they can be, like you said, eaten in small quantities, but if it's consumed in large quantities, it's a problem. Where preservatives and emulsifiers and all of this, Sarika, have a huge impact is on children, and with especially hyperactivity.
Yeah.
Studies are showing that kids who consume a lot of preservatives and artificial colors and all of this, they are witnessing and exhibiting hyperactivity, and that's not obviously a great sign. There are many, many reasons basically to look out for the label.
Yeah.
Many reasons.
Yeah. The next thing on the label which I want to talk about, Sherry, is when they just write edible cooking oil. FSSAI has made it a point now that you just cannot get away with that. You have to specify whether it's palm oil, whether it's soybean oil, it's sunflower oil. What is this edible cooking oil? Yeah. It doesn't make sense. And with that, people were mixing oils. We didn't know what oil we are eating. At least we should know and then make an informed decision. So that is a very good thing which the FSSAI had done, that you cannot be ambiguous and say edible cooking oil.
So they are taking steps. Coming to FSSAI, one of the news stories I've read is just a few months ago that there was a public interest litigation regarding front of pack warning labels, and there has been a ruling by 2 judges in the Supreme Court where they've said that packaged foods containing high levels of sugar, salt and saturated fats, ingredients linked to diseases like diabetes and heart conditions, they have to make these updated regulations on food labeling clear on packets.
Yeah.
So there is this ruling, which means there's a lot of activity taking place in this area, which I think is the need of the hour. And I'm going to come back to studies. Very few studies actually out there regarding packaged foods and FSSAI. Tiny ones with maybe 100, 200 people, not something significant. But one study is interesting. We all know the packaged food industry consumption in our country is going up and up and up. And there's been a dramatic rise, especially amongst adolescents, interestingly. And in the Indian context, it's important because adolescents are suffering from obesity as well as non-communicable diseases.
Also, a very big percent of people are adolescents, right?
That too.
Young population.
Absolutely.
We have a very large young population.
So interesting, the findings of the study. They felt the packaged foods are regarded, the adolescents, they felt that it's tasty, it's safe, and it's fresh. They know the brand name, date of expiry, blah, blah. Nevertheless, they reported difficulty when it came to understanding nutrition information, and they were not aware of the negative impacts at all of consuming anything unhealthy in these packaged foods, right? So this means that there is a need for food literacy programs amongst youngsters. They have absolutely no clue.
It's not easy to understand those labels. It's so tough. I mean, till we didn't do our research, it was not easy for us to know also. So the agencies, the FSSAI, just need to make things easier for people to read.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like a maths and chemistry lesson.
Yeah, really. Before finishing, I definitely want to talk about A2 milk. That is something, how everybody jumps on the bandwagon when it's a new fad. And I've heard so many people buying A2 milk. So when I was researching, FSSAI has no regulation for A2 milk.
Oh, wow.
So there's no certification. There is nothing there which says that, okay, we are getting A2 milk. So people have to buy it at their discretion. If they want, they should do a third-party testing for it. That's why they say don't jump onto the things without knowing everything about it.
Be cautious about it. That's so interesting. I didn't know that at all. So what you need to look for then is the FSSAI logo.
Yeah.
Clear, if you're picking up a packaged food product, it'll have a logo, it'll have a number, and the license number is normally displayed. At least look for that. And I think most products do. If it's imported, it says imported from whichever country that it does. And last but not the least, Sarika, I want to end by saying that, of course, allergy and allergens are clearly stated in most packaged food products. They also now write that, oh, this this particular product was made in a facility which has, nuts or whatever. So that way they are quite good. And I also want to add here that countries like Thailand and Sri Lanka, not very large, but have put systems in place where packaged food products people are educated about them and they have to be clear in what they say. Surely we can do the same. For example, in Thailand, they have something called the Healthier Choice logo. And what that does is, it was introduced in 2016. Basically, it indicates if a product is healthier compared to its competitors in the same category.
Oh.
I wish we could do that.
Wow.
Once and for all, you could know, okay, and there's obviously, they've been through certain certifications, certain milestones that it's crossed, which is why it's considered healthier than the others. I would love to know if we could do something like that. Chile, we've spoken about. Thailand also has the traffic labeling in beverages.
Okay.
So surely India can also, when it comes to policy, make a bit of a noise about this.
You know, I was talking to somebody who's in the food industry, and they are coming up with a lot of regulations. It's just that I think it's taking time, and it's people are not being able to implement it yet. But I think there are a lot of new regulations which are coming up, and which will be very helpful to the consumer.
Great. So I think if we can just say that look out for the worst offenders when it comes to buying packaged food, certainly learn to read the nutrition label as well as the ingredient list, do the math, mota in the nutrition label. You don't have to make it a math class. An ingredient list, please make sure that the first 5 or 6 things that you will read make sense to you.
Yeah.
We can wrap up by saying that no one is saying don't eat packaged foods. You are going to eat packaged foods, but look out for the worst offenders. Look at the table, do a bit of the reading, left to right column, RDA values. Just know what you're consuming, and
of course the ingredient list. Be careful when you're reading it. First 5 to 6 ingredients is something which makes sense to you. They are not filled with maida, palm oil and sugar. And be smart about it. You know?
Just learn to read between the lines.
The lines.
That is the most important thing.
So it's a wrap for Read Your Labels today. Eat well, live healthy, and always keep it in good taste.
And it's going to be an ongoing journey.
Yes.